Fostering connection through vulnerability, the People Pleaser podcast validates struggles, celebrates growth, and inspires positive change. Together, let's embrace authenticity, challenge patterns, and evolve with compassion. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 50th episode of the People Pleaser podcast. Can you believe it? I can't. I cannot believe that not only have I been able to talk for 50 episodes, but you've been able to listen to 50 episodes. I don't know what's a greater feat, but I'm proud of both of us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your levels of engagement and listenership. It truly means so much to me. It doesn't cease to surprise me, amaze me, fill me with joy. It's quite something. And to be completely honest, this experience of creating this podcast has been the ultimate test of people pleasing and really trying not to. And this consistently is a platform that doesn't really facilitate too much people pleasing. I know that I've definitely limited my social media presence with this platform. So in a lot of ways, it's a one-way street. But that, I think, is quite key to this experience for me, in that I have spent years overanalyzing my presence on social media, and it has not been a healthy, happy experience in a lot of ways. And this podcast truly has felt very healthy, very happy, very balanced, something that I can kind of just put out there and forget about and not really overanalyze. Like, there are definitely times where I re-listen to the episode and want to hear it from the listener's point of view after I've recorded, but I'm even moving away from that. And I think that that's a pretty big test to myself, and to just not be overthinking it, just letting it be, letting it leave my mouth, go into the internet and spit itself out in the way that it's meant to. And it's going to mean different things depending on who listens to it. And I can't even imagine trying to control that. I'm so glad that I can't. In the spirit of 50 episodes, today I want to talk about 6 ways that I am countering my people pleasing. I'm really going against my people pleasing, working it out of my system. And what I'm realizing is that in my experience, the opposite of people pleasing is actually self-care. And if you're anything like me, the word self-care kind of make you cringe, kind of make you roll your eyes, kind of make you think that it's something that the idea of it is great, but the actuality of it is either hard to achieve due to all the various reasons, all the various barriers or things that get in our way from truly taking care of ourselves. Or it's like the things that we are told to do don't really have the lasting impact that is sold to us. It's not just about the stereotypical bath and candles and yada, yada, yada. So to me, I see self-care interacting with people pleasing, in that my people pleasing, and I think a lot of people's experience of people pleasing, is that self-abandonment and that strong desire to abandon our needs for the needs of others. So truly just like tossing our needs aside and flocking to the needs of anybody else, because we have put our worth, our wholeness, our existence revolves around what we do and how much we do for others. And I think that it's become abundantly clear that I have been going through a bit of an awakening because I have been in such a high level of burnout and chronic stress for so long that I am literally like chopping things out of my life. Like I am clear cutting so many areas of my life to really strip it down to, okay, what is actually important? What do I actually need? What is actually the life I want to live? And I am far from that end goal. Like there is probably no end goal. It's a constant practice. It's a constant evolution of just changing things, tweaking things, trying new things. But I do think that I'm really honing in on some good patterns and habits, and I want to share them with you. And I also want to share just something that it was such a small moment in my day today, but it had such a lasting impact. And there's this customer that comes into the cafe I work at, and he is just like this beacon of light. He has such a warm energy, such a kind presence. And he comes in today and I just asked him, like, how are you? And he was just beaming. Like, I swear the sun was like casting down on him as he was like standing up at the counter. And he said something to the effect of like, the path is golden. And I asked him kind of like what he meant by that. And he just basically was saying, life is so sweet. Like, look at this life. Look at this life that I've been afforded. This is a gift. This is unbelievable. This is so far beyond my expectations. And this is a man of, from what I can gather, very basic means. Like, this person is not living in extravagance. This person is not, living beyond just a very simple footprint. And he also said that he shared with me that he lost his daughter 20 years ago. And he said, I've been mourning my daughter for 20 years, but I've also been celebrating the 35 years that I got to spend with her. And I just thought that was so beautiful to like really sort of give me a moment to reflect on the fact that we have a choice. We can choose to dwell on the negative, on the injustices, on the sadness, on the heavy emotions. And we can also lean into gratitude, lean into the bigger picture. And I'm not trying to, generalize or like sweep over large issues that obviously have large impact, but I just really needed to hear him say these words today because I think that I've been in a little bit of a dark place over the last few months, and there's definitely been a lot of feeling sorry for myself, feeling like all these external things are working against me. And so it was really important for me today to think about the ways that I am actually taking care of myself and the things about this life that are fully within my control and are actually so beautiful and so positive. And they take me out of some of my most toxic behavioral patterns, and they ground me into the places I want to be, the people I want to be around, the way I want to spend my time. And so without going on and on and on, I'm just going to jump right in. So I am going to share with you 6 things that I am doing to take care of myself. So the first one is my favorite part of the day, And that is when I wake up at 5 a.m., which seems crazy. Like, I really never thought that I would be that person, but I have built such a nourishing, beautiful morning routine that I actually get a little bit excited when I go to bed that I get to wake up. And like, this is not because I'm like part of this 5 a.m. club. I'm not in this like rise and grind mentality. I am like deliberately carving out this quiet time in the morning before the busyness because I have learned that I just need extra time. I don't like to rush. I don't like to be rushed. I just know that like by allowing myself more time, I get to have all the things I want and need before I go to work. And so that I am showing up to work with my cup full. And so my morning routine is just something that I absolutely cherish. And it's really not rocket science. It's really just like straightforward things. I wake up at 5, I wash my face, I get my coffee ready, and I sit down with my cup of coffee and it is warming my hands. And every morning I hold the mug in my hand while I do my 5 or 10 minutes of meditation. And I have like pretty bad circulation. So my fingers, like my hands and my feet are always so cold. And this one simple act of like holding my hot coffee while I do this meditation is just like life-giving. It seriously just is the simplest little thing. And I look forward to it. And once I'm done my meditation, I read, and I've been reading just like really good books. Only fiction, really. I did read one nonfiction recently, but mostly fiction. Right now, I am reading Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and it's just like I give myself almost an hour to just read and drink my coffee. I'll have my second cup. I'll have a little snack. I've been a little more intentional with breakfast, which I'll get to later, but I'm like eating, I'm drinking my coffee, and then I give myself like an hour to 90 minutes to work on school. And by that point, it's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to like change things up. I'm ready to do a little bit more output because I've like done the input. And then I give myself 30 minutes to get ready for work because that's at that point, that's all I need. I really just need to like brush my teeth, get dressed, and head out the door. So my morning routine just has really been such a special part of the day. And it's because I'm just like starting the day with this like heavy dose of self-care. So that kind of leads me to my second self-care practice, which is eating enough. So I have learned that I need to really front load my day with food. I am my hungriest before 1 o'clock. And so I am like not holding back on just feeding myself, just making sure that I am adequately nourished before I go to work and I bring things to work so that I'm just not hungry. I'm not letting myself get to that hungry place. And I don't really care about what works for other people. I've had such a challenging relationship with food for so many different reasons. And this is like feeling so good. And so I've been working with a holistic nutritionist, and we've been really working on like what I can eat in the morning to just make sure that I'm getting protein, that I'm not allowing my cortisol levels to spike super quickly in the morning. And so I've been like making scones. I've been making baked oatmeal. I've been making eggs. I've been making protein smoothies. I have been making all kinds of delicious things that I get to just like enjoy and devour. And I am going to work with my belly full. I've also been like splurging a little bit on just like high quality, gluten-free, dairy-free snacks that I can bring with me to work. And it just feels so good. Like it just feels like my tank always has something in it. I always have like enough energy to sustain myself. And of course, I get to eat like a free meal at work, which is really great. And I've been working really hard to meal plan so that I always know what we're having for dinner. I've already done the grocery shopping to make sure that we have all the ingredients, and we post the menu on the board. And so like my husband knows what we're eating. He's often accompanying me to the grocery store. And it just feels like we're really prioritizing food. We're prioritizing eating well. And that is just something that I know I need. And I know my husband really benefits from as well, to just like not really have to, like we have to put some thought into food, but we really just have to do that like one day of the week. And that sets us up for the rest of the week. It just takes the guesswork out, which is huge for me. My third self-care practice has been regular movement, and that's been looking a little bit different lately, and that's been so nice to just add a little bit more diversity. So I've just wrapped up a 3-week intro pass to a local yoga studio, and I have been like just totally loading up on yoga classes. I think I've been going to 3 a week. It's hot yoga, and it's a studio that like I'm brand new to, and it's been such a positive experience, not just for my body. My body is like, thank you so much for this, but it's also just a beautiful little community hub. And I'm just getting to not really know people, but I'm becoming familiar with different people. And I can see that it's a community for so many people. And so it feels really good to just be in that space and to know that community exists here. I've also been back on the Peloton, trying to get on the bike a little bit more regularly. I took a bit of a hiatus, which felt good. It was exactly what I needed, but I found myself this week kind of getting excited to get back on the bike. So that's really cool. And I've just been doing a lot of dog walks and just feeling so good about being outside. Seeing all the spring buds coming out is just like life-giving. I've just been really loving it. So regular movement, it's exactly what my body is asking for, and I have time and space to do that. And that's usually something I do in the evenings. I used to want to be someone who worked out in the morning, but I don't like to rush. I like to have time, and it's been a really good thing for me to do either right when I get home from work. I'll like take the dog out, or on my days off, I'll go to a yoga class in the morning, or sometimes later in the evening, I'll do a little rip on the bike, and that's been feeling really good. Number 4 is reaching out to friends in ways that feel authentic. So this is an area that people pleasing has definitely reared its ugly head, where I have felt like I need to show up in a certain way, but I've always found that way is like a mystery. It's like a hidden expectation that's never been communicated to me between my friends and I, which of course isn't necessarily true. Or if it is, it's none of my business because they've never told me. But I've been trying to just be really authentic with how I'm showing up. And that also means that I may be showing up less, because I will reach out when it feels like I want to. Like I'm not forcing it. I'm not overthinking it. I'm just like, hey, I'm thinking about this person. I want to check in. I did something kind of fun this past week. I went to an antique mall and I spent like over an hour just like perusing and touching all the things and loving every minute of it. And I ended up buying 10 postcards, and I wrote 10 postcards to friends and family, and I just like mailed them. And they're all these like random old vintage postcards from like all these random cities around the United States. None of them were from where I actually live, but it just felt so fun to be like, I get to decide how I want to show up for my friends. And this just felt like a really fun and just kind of like special or out of the ordinary way of showing up. And so I'm just trying to be really true to how I show up in friendships. I want to ensure people know that I love and care about them, but me reaching out because I feel like I have to isn't showing them that I love and care about them. It's showing them that I feel like guilty or a sense of obligation, which is kind of the opposite. I'm still working on this one. I think that I've definitely come out of a bit of a slump. I'm coming out of it. And so I haven't been reaching out as much as I'd like to. And I just need to find my own footing with that. I know that like when I first moved, I felt like there was a lot of updates being given, which of course is like, of course, but it also just felt like a little bit canned, like a little bit like, here is the generic update. And truthfully, I just love having phone calls. I love chatting on the phone, especially if I'm like out on a dog walk or something. I love to just be able to chat with someone. That is something I actually miss about my dad, is like, that would be like, if I was ever like going on a walk, I would call my dad. And I think it's become a little bit of a, I don't know, just like a, I don't know really what the word is, but something that feels special, something that feels like, oh, I want to talk to somebody right now because I would have been talking to my dad. So that is something that I know I just need to do and not like overthink like, oh, are they maybe going to be busy? Are they not going to pick up? Blah, 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 blah. Just like call someone, see if they pick up. That sort of leads to number 5, and that is finding that good, healthy mixture of solo versus social time. I know that I need solo time. That is like where I recharge, I regenerate. That's where I'm my most creative self. And that is when I'm like filling up the tank so that I can be social. And I think that I am someone who, because my job is so social and I'm like talking all day to customers, right now I think the scales are tipped a little bit where I'm feeling a pull towards more solo time than social time. But I also don't get a lot of social time just because I'm like, chosen social time, because my social network here in this town is relatively small. But like even last night, our neighbors invited us over for dinner, just kind of a last minute, like, hey, why don't you come over for dinner? And that is just like never something I want to say no to. Like I always want to just be well enough and recharged enough that something as lovely as being invited over for dinner to a neighbor's house is just an easy yes. And the yeses feel easier when I know that like all my other bases are covered. And that's just something I know about myself. Like I just absolutely know that I love solo time and I need it. And I am better to everybody else because of it. And finally, the last one, which is the one that's already on my mind for tonight, is an early bedtime. And similar to my morning routine, I have a bedtime routine, and it's essentially the same in reverse. But it's really just like winding down with my husband. Like we'll watch a show, and I am usually the first one in bed, but lately he's been pretty much going to bed at the same time as me. But I will happily be getting into bed at like 8:30 or 9 and reading until my eyes get heavy and I fall asleep. And I have been taking magnesium at night, and I do most nights, not all nights, sleep with earplugs in. And I'm just like prioritizing rest and like a solid night's sleep. And that has been, that's why I can get up at 5 a.m. I'm not staying up late. I am getting to bed early. And that is exactly what my body's asking for. And so I think the theme of all these, like not only are they sort of counteracting people pleasing, but they're just all in the spirit of like taking good care of myself and listening to my body and listening to my brain and my emotions. And I think when we know that we at our like most foundational levels are cared for, that we have a bit more resilience to approach the world in. And it's not to say that we aren't gonna still people please, but I just think that we are so much better equipped to face some of those like moments where we're like trying to not people please or trying to show up authentically in community or in public. And for me, just like knowing that I'm not going to go into a deficit when I'm like out in the world, because I know that I have these like structures and these practices that are very nourishing, are very energy giving, that I have extra in the tank to kind of put out into the world. And so I still have work to do on people pleasing. I had an experience this week at work where I'm like, damn, I'm still doing the thing. I'm still people pleasing. But I'm certainly way more aware of it. And the people pleasing is coming at like a far less cost. Like the cost is much less than maybe it once was before. I'm not completely self-abandoning. I may be having moments of like self-abandoning or overstretching myself, or maybe not having like crystal clear boundaries, but I'm also like not striving for perfection. And I've been able to offer myself a ton of grace, a ton of humility, and just be like, okay, better luck next time, Corie. Like, at least you're aware of it. So that's the list. We've got slow and easy mornings, eating enough, regular movement, reaching out to friends in ways that feels authentic, mixing social with solo, and an early bedtime. So that is just a very non-prescriptive list of self-care activities that works for me. And I would really encourage you to, instead of like writing off self-care as like bubble baths, think like what actually feels nourishing, what feels protective, what feels energizing, what feels life-giving, and lean into those. And it may require like physically carving out space. And I'm not telling you need to get up at 5, because that's extreme. I admit it works for me. But I'm also ready for bed at 8:30. So I don't expect everybody to be in their grandma era quite as excitedly as I am, but what feels good? Self-care is like such a wide open landscape. There are so many things that can be self-care. And maybe it's worth thinking like, did I do any of those today? Did I do any of those this week? Like, when is the last time I dedicated a little bit of time to just take care of myself? So that is it. That is my 50th episode. Once again, I appreciate you so much. I'm so glad you're here, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.